Join us as Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. This is Gloria Lee, the moderator for the show Women of Courage. Wherever you are in the world, I need you to know one thing right now. You are amazing. I know you might be upset. I know you might be hurting, and I know you might be frustrated. I know because all of these things happened to me. I was homeless for 2 years, and all I had was a computer, my son, and a car. I want you to know you still have a purpose in life, and it is my job to help you believe that again. Do you want to believe? Can you see that the divorce was not meant to take you out? Can you believe that the lost house and the lost job is a setup for something greater? By the end of this broadcast, you'll be injected with so much that you cannot help but believe again. And I am going to help you do just that. Are you ready? I got some things I want to share with you. And I will even make suggestions on books and activities that you can implement, which will ultimately bring healing and wholeness to you. If you are ready to be healed, if you're ready to be whole, just jot down the pointers I give and watch your life transform. No matter what happened, no matter whose fault it was, today is a new day, and your time to live and be free is now. Join me in this journey to wholeness. Your time for total healing is now. Today you shall recover. Wholeness, healness, and peacefulness is in the mind. That is where all battles for life end and begin.
Today, I choose love. From my past, my future, to my family and friends, I choose love. With everything we've got going on in the world today, all the hate and negativity, love is all we have, and it's all we need. If you can start each day with love, you will watch your world change. But the time is now to forgive, to forget, to move on. Do this and your perspective will change. If I know one thing, I would rather live in a world with love and openness than a world full of pain. And it's our choice to believe in something bigger than us. One world, one people, one love.
The Women of Courage show is being broadcast by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help you problem solve to help. When you get up in the morning and brush your teeth and put your clothes on to go to work, have you ever asked yourself exactly what you were doing? Seriously, have you ever asked yourself exactly what you were doing? What were you trying to accomplish? Exactly what were your plans for yourself? How you were going to accomplish these plans? Did you tell yourself, I'm going to work to take care of my family? That may be so, but there is something missing in that explanation of saying, I'm going to work to take care of my family. The answer is too simplistic. It lacks definition and continuity. Any morning of the week you can say that to yourself, but you would be missing the point. Repetitive behavior is a sign of discontinuity. Could your purpose be disjointed and lack direction? What you need to do is examine your behavior, because without an examination you may not realize that you are seriously off track. The answer, trying to take care of my family, is too broad. It is without specificity. When did you begin taking care of your family? And when will you end taking care of your family? And where are you doing these events? Your answer encapsulates years of time. And when you finish with all of these years of time, where will you end up? What will be the results of your going to work to take care of your family? Have you considered that maybe you have not given enough thought to what you are actually accomplishing? What do you mean by the phrase taking care of my family? What does that phrase entail? You need a plan. You need a roadmap telling you exactly where you want to go. You need clear-cut objectives and a system of how to evaluate your failure or your success. What will help clarify the situation is if you start putting your thoughts in order. You need to segregate your thoughts and behaviors into two camps. Are you winning or losing? What are you doing to win? And if you are not winning, what are you doing to lose? First of all, let us take a look at several definitions. What is winning and what is losing? And what do you consider winning and what do you consider losing? The dictionary defines winning as an adjective, a superlative adjective, gaining or resulting in or relating to victory in a contest or competition. Winning means being victorious, successful, triumphant, vanishing your enemy, being unbeaten or undefeated. The opposite of winning is losing. The dictionary says that the word losing is also an adjective, meaning suffering, resulting in, relating to defeat in a game or contest, or losing one's side. The dictionary gives us an objective opinion of the words winning and losing. But what is your definition of these two words? Have you noticed there is something about these two words? There's something emotional about these two words, more so than the words adultery or hate. These two words carry a connotation that is not only unpleasant, but one that causes a great deal of upset. There is an emotional attachment to the use of these two words when the words more than other words in our language. One of these words most people want to avoid having associated with them. No one wants to be a loser. If a person is not a winner, most people retreat to a gray area rather than to be called a loser. Two words, winner and loser, implies a personal evaluation of one's self-worth. If you are winning, then you are a winner, and if you are losing, you are nobody. People say to themselves, I want to run as fast as I can, so I will not be a loser. I want to do my absolute best, so I will not be a loser. Losing is an undesirable condition. People are afraid of this term. It is a label no one wants to wear. It is an awful feeling for someone to be called a loser. Years ago, and maybe even now, women use this term to berate their husbands for failing to buy them a large house or a mink coat or etc. Use of this term makes most people uncomfortable. In the book, What You Must Do to Win, we explore the word winning. We do not pay any attention to the word losing. One of the reasons why we do not pay that much attention to the term loser is because we believe you cannot be a loser until you have given up the fight to try and win. Think of Thomas Edison, Dale Carnegie, and President Abraham Lincoln. They had to tell themselves over and over and over again, I am not a failure, I am not a loser. These phrases of telling yourself, I am not a failure and I'm not a loser, help you get up in the morning. These men persisted throughout mounting failures. You have to consider that after each failure that these men had doubts to the outcome of their future. Just because they eventually ended up doing something great does not mean that they were happy that they did not kick themselves at every failure or that they did not question their decision to pursue that course of their life. For years, these men were failures to those living around them. These men did not live on Fifth Avenue, they did not drive a fine car, and they did not have a fat bank account. All of them were living on the poor side of town. So the question becomes, after such failure, how did they survive and go on to win? In August, we are going to discuss 3 men who endured great sacrifice to win. The series is called Great Men Come From Nowhere. One of the most effective ways of getting ahead in life is by learning from the mistakes and successes of others. This way, one can avoid the mistakes of other people and possibly achieve success faster. This is one of the reasons why we're going to discuss these 3 winners during the month of August. These men are examples of the quote made by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, when a resolute young fellow steps up to the great bully, the world, and take him boldly by the beard, he is often surprised to find it comes off in his hand and that is only tied on to scare away timid adventurers. In other words, if you're not afraid of adventure or fighting back, you stand a great chance of winning. If you do not allow society to chase you away and make you afraid of your adventure. Abraham Lincoln, Dale Carnegie were ordinary men just like us, but they were determined to do something extraordinary because they had a vision, they had a desire, they had dreams. They worked to develop themselves. From the story of their lives, you will learn how to stop living a mediocre life and start conquering your world and living on your terms. For them, failure was not an option. Rather, it was an opportunity to refire and reach for their goals again. They have shown tremendous courage, so much that their lives could easily serve as a template for other men to emulate. Your primary starting point is believing in yourself and encouraging yourself even in the face of failure and naysayer. Let me say it again. Your primary starting point is believing in yourself and encouraging yourself even in the face of failures and naysayers. Thomas Edison failed numerous times, but he kept going back. Finally, he won, and eventually the light bulb and other inventions came into being. The same with Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln failed at politics many times. He even ran for dog catcher and lost, but he kept running for public office until he was elected president. I'm going to repeat 2 points. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that you must deal with the bullies in your life. You must take those bullies on boldly and realize that the only reason why you may fail is because you become scared and that you are timid. Also remember, your primary starting point is believing in yourself and encouraging yourself even in the face of failure and naysayers. Edison won and Abraham Lincoln won after many failures. So can you. One thing about these men, they challenged themselves. They inspired others with their courage and they pushed ahead. Remember, a man is what he thinks about all day long. So says Ralph Waldo Emerson. The Women of Courage show is brought to you by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries. The Ministries is a reading ministry. We believe the world becomes alive when it is explained through reading. Thus, our presentation to you today. All of our efforts are toward demonstrating that when women work together, they win. Yet women cannot win without knowledge and power. Neither of these abilities can come without reading. Power is the ability to make things happen, to move things, or to bring about a particular event. Knowledge is power and education is power. Without either, a person is ineffective to bring about a particular event. Without violence, power is never given, it is always taken. Our attempt to take power has to be without violence because of our lack of testosterone. Consequently, women must learn how to take power and learn how to manage it without mimicking men. The only way we can accomplish any of this is to gain knowledge through reading. You may think that you are too busy to read, but you need the information that I have accumulated for you. You are an integral part of our effort. We are trying to reach the women who have given up, the adulteress, the whore, the woman who does not believe, the woman who's contemplating suicide, the woman who wakes in the morning hating her husband, the woman who screams at her children, the woman who has lost her home, the woman who has failed at school, or the woman who is bitter over her divorce. I am looking for the betrayed, the adulteress, the whore, and the downtrodden. I am looking for the woman who wants to fight back but does not know how to fight. I want them to know that the battle is not over. Failure is just another way of standing up. I am trying to reach these women because I want to try and save their lives. Now to the video of why you are here. We present the video Men and Murder. Today we will be discussing the book, What You Must Do to Win. This is an excellent read, and after you finish reading it, you will enjoy it, but you must put some of the ideas that the author talks about into practice. Reading is not enough. You must put these ideas into practice. The book, What You Must Do to Win, starts off with the question, are you not tired of being a fool? Then that question is followed by a quote from the Scarlet Letter. The quote says, man, for any considerable period, can wear one face to himself and another to the multitude without finally getting bewildered as to which may be the truth. You loan Paul money, he never pays it back. You help Julia with her children, but she never remembers you during Christmas. There is more to life than looking for an opportunity to lie, cheat, and steal. Consider this, spending 20 to 40 years in prison is a waste of your life. You can do better, and you need to tell yourself that you can do better. Have some pride about yourself. Learn to think. Learn to read well and leave your foolish friends behind. Stop being afraid of life and stop avoiding the responsibility you have to yourself. Some people say if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. Why not read this book and find out how reading can change your life and bring health and wealth to you? You have nothing to lose. 2 hours out of your day will change your life drastically. Just because you started your life from a position of weakness does not mean that you have to remain weak. Take control of your life. Stop associating with men who are fools. In this book, you're going to learn how to recognize a fool, even if that fool is yourself. The only problem with being a fool is if one continues to be a fool. Everyone makes mistakes, and everyone does foolish things. That behavior is part of life. But the behavior does not have to be part of your life in continuing that behavior. When is enough enough? When are you going to face the fact that your marriage is no good because of you? When are you going to face the fact that your children are failing at life because of you? When are you going to face the fact that you need to change? You need to know when you are talking to a fool. You need to know how to recognize a fool. The word fool is not a nice term. People do not like it. The word is demeaning and makes people feel bad to be called a fool. Nevertheless, the word remains in the dictionary because it is a word that accurately describes the behavior of some people. If you do not like being a fool, or you are tired of thinking you are a fool, it is time to change. When you left high school, you never envisioned yourself spending time in jail. You never envisioned yourself as a drug courier. You never thought you would burglarize a house or sit inside of a dope house holding a shotgun just to make money. You could have avoided all of these jobs if you had learned to read. All you have to do is learn to read. Reading brings you knowledge, and knowledge brings you creative ideas and know-how. You can learn a new trade by reading. You can learn to become a mechanic by reading, a carpenter by reading, and even a plumber if you know how to read. You need to make up in your mind that you want to do something with your life, and then you need to change. You need to change your environment, and you need to change your friends. Wisdom is defined as the quality or state of being wise, knowledge of what is true or right, coupled with just judgment as to action, discernment, or insight. How wise are you going to be today? Are you going to change? Are you going to start living your life being respectful of yourself and others? If you participate in any of the above behaviors, you are not only foolish, you are a follower. You let someone tell you that that behavior was smart. So one of the first steps of not being foolish is to change your friends. Leave all the foolish people in your life alone. There is too much pain in our communities. There are too many people living painful lives. We have too many unhappy children. We have too many unhappy seniors. There is too much anger in our community. There is too much hatred in our community. And there is too much self-loathing in our community. Something needs to be done about it. A few hours of your time can solve the problem. All you have to do is learn to read and separate yourself from evil thinking people. You must separate yourself from all the predators living around you. One thing which may be painful is that you must realize there can be evilness in your family. Once you identify evil acting people in your family, you must leave them alone. You must not eat with, sleep with, talk with, or walk with anyone who is essentially different than you. If you do, you may lose your life, or either their evilness may cause the death of your children. God is not going to defend your mind for you. It is your responsibility. With the word of God in your mouth and in your heart, you can defeat the enemy's suggestions every time. You know that you're talking to the enemy anytime you become angry at a conversation, irritated, or depressed. Here is a word from Ephesians 4:21-24. It says, "Since you have heard about Jesus and you have learned the truth that comes from him, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. Instead, let the Spirit renew your thoughts and attitudes. Put on your new nature, created to be like God, truly righteous and holy. This is your new identity in Jesus Christ. Put forth your best effort to keep yourself in the right frame of mind. Stay in the Word and keep out of the wrong influences as an act of your will. When you become a good custodian over your thought life, you will be victorious over the negative thinking and the pain associated with that thought life. Ephesians 4:21 says God's word can defeat the enemy's suggestions, and the verse says the Spirit can renew our thoughts and our attitude. Why not try God's word and see what it can do for your life? You believe in ghosts and goblins. You believe in monsters. Why can't you believe in God? You need to make up your mind whether or not you believe there is a God. If you believe God exists, then you follow him. You need to make up in your mind what type of life you want to live and who you want living that life with you or around you. If your best friends exhibit bad behavior, you will just have to leave him or her alone. Galatians 4:13 says, it tells you, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. That is what you want to do. Ask God to strengthen you. These are the two passages in the Bible that you must take with you when you go into battle. A battle as defined as any opposition. I'm not talking about just a battle with guns. I'm talking about a battle of the mind. When you have to go to work and you're tired because you've been working 2 jobs. That is right. You will always be in a battle when you try to change your life and stop associating with bad people. You will need help when you try to extricate yourself from the affairs of others, including your family members. Put these passages to memory. They will serve you well during hard times when you despair, when you are afraid, you think God has not heard you. The world says when you are experiencing hard times, you're supposed to suffer. You are supposed to do what you have to do. In other words, prostitute your body, steal or kill for food, accept low wages, and accept abuse from your employer. Go home, eat a plate of denial, and drink a glass of hatred. You are to bemoan your life and accept your fate. Read these passages several times, especially while you are at work during your break or lunch hour. These passages will help you through the day. Your enemy does not want you to believe in Psalms 23 or Psalms 91. He wants you to believe your situation is desperate. Just remember the situation with the leopards. God has always turned the situation around. The Syrians had deserted their camp, but no one in Samaria knew it until the leopards stumbled upon the Syrian camp. Then they went and told everyone the news. Remember Isaiah 65:24? People were praying inside the wall for God to deliver them, and they had received their deliverance and they didn't know it. It took the leopards going to the enemy's camp for the Israelites to realize they had been saved. Sometimes you have to be still, quiet your spirit so you can receive directions. We live in a physical world, but our destiny is determined in the spiritual world. God has given us His word to tell us how to conduct our lives. God says we are to take His word to create a life, repeat His word to enhance our creative power. God says choose life. To do this, you must believe and you must stand up. Do not let negative people and toxic relationships keep you from realizing your dreams. You can be a better person. You must stop doing what you're doing and decide on a better life. The drinking, the smoking, the snorting coke, the lusting after someone else's boyfriend or husband, and sexing every day changes what you can realize out of life. Disrespect yourself, have sex with every man you meet, and bring people in, men especially, into your home and allow them to mistreat your children. You have given up. You do not know how to manage your life. How long are you going to go before you change? Your children will not survive if you do not change. Take a good look at your children. They will not have a future if you do not change. Are you not tired of being or seeing black boys and black men being carted off to prison for lack of knowledge and opportunity? Are you not tired of seeing black women standing on the corner prostituting? Are you not tired of envying other people, saying to yourself, I wish that were me? Stop fantasizing, stop being ashamed because you are poor and uneducated and afraid. Stand up and change your life. Change is hard, but why die expressing regret? I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Now, I am going to repeat some information that we discussed earlier, I think in our 5th session. This is very important. You must have some information about yourself in order to change. You must have an idea of your self-image. You must have an idea of your self-esteem, whether you have what we would consider a normal self-esteem or low self-esteem. This is very important if you're going to attempt a change. If you are not satisfied with the person who you are, then you must change that person. But in order to change that person, you need tools.
For just $13.95, we'll give you a book that will save your life. Not your life alone, but for all the women you interact with. Life-Saving Advice is a book by Gloria Lee. The 248-page black and white print gives you massive insight to identify potential dangers around you. It outlines the characteristics of harmful people likely to put your life at risk. Isn't it life-saving? Hurry now. Go to touchedbythelight.us/regular-publications instantly and obtain your copy. Making an excuse is easy. The consequences are fussy. In fact, we always find ourselves failing to achieve our goals because we succeed in making excuses. The good news is, Gloria Lee has yet another book for you. The Cure You Need for a Change. What You Need to Win. The book title speaks it all. Reading its 276 pages is worth it. Be the first woman to read and inspire others. Go to touchedbythelight.us/regular-publications and get your copy now for only $14.95.
32 million adults in the United States cannot read. And for most of them, it's not that they lack the ability to learn how. They just have grown up in a system that has not allowed them to flourish. And what I want to talk about today is bringing that power back to our communities. It is 2020. We have the resources around us to gain this knowledge. And it comes down to supporting our brothers and sisters to get them back on track. We need to understand that there is power in new information. We cannot hang on to the same things that have been told to us for the last 10 to 15 years. It is a new day. We have new technology at our fingertips that can help our families and our communities. But we need to be able to understand it, to process it, and to take action on it. For those of you that can read, I challenge you in 2020 to dedicate time to help our communities become better. Reach out, volunteer, and donate to help bring education back to our homes. For those of you that cannot read, all that I ask is for you to reach out for help. There are people around you that are willing to help you reach success. This cannot be about pride or being self-conscious. This has to be about you. We want to help you learn how to read so that you can make the decisions you need in this life. It is 2020. No more excuses on either side. If you can, you need to help. If you can't, you need to ask. We are all here for each other. I am talking about our cities, our communities, and our families. Bring the power of education back home.
Do you
Hello.
see now
Are
why
you
you must
downcast,
guard the way that you
emotionally,
think,
and psychologically
and
broken?
that you need
Still
to
finding it
consider the
difficult
consequences
realizing your
of your
deepest life
actions
aspiration
before
and fulfilling
any
your dream of
endeavor?
ever becoming
Because
that
your life
courageous
and the
woman
lives of
you
your
have
children
wanted?
depend on what
You don't have to
you
worry
decide to
anymore,
do
as I
or
provide
what you
you with a
decide
lasting
not to do.
solution to turn this
If you
around.
are to
I'm
survive,
delighted
you
to
must
introduce
face
to
the
you
day
a
and
3
change.
amazing and
Life is
life-changing
not
book
for the
series
weak and the
titled
faint of heart,
Women of Courage,
because
Part 1,
they live
Part 2,
each day
and How
in
to Become
terror
a Woman
and
of Courage.
fear of what
These
might
preach the
happen.
personification
You
of
do not
burning
have to be
passion,
one of these
courage,
people
commitment, and
who is
inspiration.
destroyed by the
We've
snares
simply
and
felt
traps
compelled
of
to
the
express.
mind.
These books are
Take
so
control
inspiring.
and
It
will your
motivates
life
and
into
encourages women to be
existence.
more than the ordinary,
You do this by
influencing
feeding your
and
mind
controlling life
with new
situations
information
you thought you couldn't
and
do.
changing
It
friends
educates
who
you to
are
break the
toxic
social
to your
norms
life.
and become the unexpected
Taking
and
advice is a
respected
form
woman
of
leader.
following.
It teaches
If
you to
you're
support
going
your
to
own
follow
mind,
a
your
black
dreams,
woman or
and
black
helping you
man,
unleash your potential.
make certain that he or
Now is the
she
time to start
is a
thinking
person
outside
of
the box
integrity
and overcoming
and they have
emotional and
character,
psychological
that they're
challenges.
not
You too
concerned
can
so
change
much
your
with
world
their
today.
breast and butt
Why
size,
don't you
that
challenge
they're
your
not
fear and
loud
become a
mouths
woman
and
full
that
of the freedom
brag
that you've always
all the
dreamed of?
time.
Compared
There
to
is
the millions
nothing
of
more
ideas
pathetic
and thoughts it
to see
shares
in
for your
church
happiness and courage, the books
than
are
a
super
reformed
amazingly
woman or
affordable.
reformed man
You also have
begging
the
God to
privilege of reading
forgive
an
them for their
excerpt from the
sexual
book before placing an order.
transgressions
Simply go to
when
the
their
website
sons is
touchedbythelight.us
languishing in
and
prison because
click
of
on
their
the book
neglect,
cover to learn more
or
about
their
this
daughters are
adventurous
walking the
book.
street
Do not
because the
compromise your
mother
dream of
neglected them
freedom,
or the
strength,
father
and
neglected
boldness.
them,
I would
or that they
highly
had the
recommend
lack
that
of
you give
courage
this a shot.
and belief in
Beth,
self.
Women
Rather
of
than these
Courage.
people going to church begging God to help them, they need to stand up, get a job, and go save their children. You are never too old to change. You must ask more of life than a snort of coke, a hit from a cigarette, and a wink from a man or woman. We hope after this broadcast, your circumstances will have changed today, because you will begin to doubt your motives and the way you've been thinking. Doubt is good, but use that with a follow through and change. Become willful for the benefit of black men and women, not willful for their destruction. People are destroyed by harsh words and rebuffs. You are no better than the next woman. You are just good at hiding your nature. Instead of being a ravenous wolf, change and become a woman or man of courage, a woman with a purpose to bring forth life, not death, through her labor. I am going to introduce 2 more books to you that I think will help you to introduce these books, should help support you in your attempt to change for a better life. The 2 books are entitled A Christian is Never Desperate and Be Not Defeated in Hard Times. Let me say to you, I'm not trying to convert you to become a Christian. All I want is for you to read the books and entertain new ideas. Okay, the 2 books, A Christian is Never Desperate and Be Not Defeated in Hard Times, were written for the people that find themselves in a dark place. You get to this dark place by allowing people and or circumstances to weigh you down. These 2 books will give you a way back out of the darkness. The books provide you with tools that you can use to fight your way back to the light. When you let fear control you, your thinking becomes chaotic. You will not problem solve correctly. Your body will record the statements of your mind and you will feel sick. As soon as you begin to feel uncomfortable or feel on edge, you need to examine your thoughts. You need to ask yourself, what was I just thinking? What did I just say to myself? What fears am I releasing into my spirit? If you get a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, or you get a headache, or you begin to frown, or you can no longer smile, you need to begin to ask yourself, why am I thinking this way? What thoughts changed the way I am feeling. Your mind is sending negative images. These images are taking you to a dark place, especially if you feel like running. Remembering unpleasant situations cause dark thoughts, or make comparisons also elicit dark thoughts. For example, Robert left home yesterday morning looking for a job, but he did not find a job. I want you to picture Robert as being your brother who's been borrowing money from you a long time, or Robert is your husband who's been employed a long time. Each of these people said that they left home looking for a job. They returned and said they did not find a job. Therefore, you concluded, if I leave home looking for a job, I will not find a job. First of all, this is a stupid assumption. How do you know Robert actually looked for a job? How do you know he did not leave home and go to his friend's house and play video games until 3 o'clock in the afternoon? How do you know how many employers he tried while looking for work? How many jobs did Robert tell himself that he could do? Did he tell himself that he could become a short order cook, a dishwasher, a waiter, a person who answers the phone, a fireman, a EMT driver, working as an orderly in the hospital, etc.? You're basing your assumption on what you think Robert did, but you really don't know what Robert did. So Robert came home and said he couldn't find a job, so you conclude that if you go out there, you can't find a job either. That's not true. What jobs did Robert dismiss thinking negatively that he would not be hired? Robert could also be a big liar. He wants everyone to think he spent all day looking for a job, when actually Robert spent all day in the bar drinking because he was afraid of rejection. He was afraid of going and ask for a job and having somebody tell him no. Robert would rather go rob a grocery store than to face the fact that he needs to learn to read so he can fill out a job application. But may be the type of person that would rather take a chance on going to prison than revealing that he does not know how to read and write. So he's having a hard time trying to get a job because he doesn't know how to read and write. So how can he fill out an application? And Robert is not asking anyone for help. Think about this statement. As long as McDonald's, Burger King, or Wendy's make hamburgers, one of these restaurants will be hiring. These restaurants are not shy about telling the public to come eat their hamburgers. So why couldn't Robert find a job? People are still eating hamburgers. Maybe the problem is Robert does not have enough ego strength to work a job around a lot of teenagers. See my point? Is Robert's ego so fragile that he dreads seeing any of his friends come into a restaurant and he has to wait on them? So to avoid this imagined embarrassment, he robs a grocery store and kills the clerk. Just because Robert can't find a job doesn't mean that you can't. Create your own future. Read the 2 books I discussed, A Christian is Never Desperate and Be Not Defeated in Hard Times. You can learn how to fight for a better life. You can read the first chapter of each of these books by going to the website touchedbythelight.us and clicking on the cover. There's a lot you can gain from reading these books. Do not reject this advice. If you're sitting there without a job and you're holding a gun, contemplating violence, you need to change. There are thousands of black children in this world that's sick and tired of having to go see their parents in prison. You should not subject your children to this trauma. You need to find another way out of your dilemma other than violence or selling your body. That's what this series is about. Your survival is based on the battle that you conduct in your mind. You need to learn how to fight against negative thoughts. Anytime you're thinking about committing a crime or selling your body, that is a negative thought. thought.
and respected
The
woman
battle
leader.
for your
It teaches
survival
you to
is
support
in
own
your
dreams,
mind.
and helping you unleash your
I am
potential.
going to read to
Now
you
is
from
the time to start
the
thinking
article,
outside the
Reading
box
Will
and
Change Your
overcoming
Life.
emotional and psychological
Reading
challenges.
is
You
the
too can
gateway
change your
to a
world
new
today.
life.
Why don't
If you are sick and
challenge your
tired of
fear
being
and
sick
become
and
a woman
tired,
full of the
then you
freedom that
need to
you've always
change.
dreamed of?
You should pick up a
Compared
book
to the millions of
because
ideas
therein
and thoughts
lies
it shares
the
for your
knowledge
happiness and
of
courage,
change.
the
The
books are
key to
super
life
amazingly
is
affordable.
change.
You
If you
also
want a
have
good
the
life,
privilege
then
of
you
reading
must
an excerpt from the
be
book before
capable
placing an
and
order.
willing to
Simply
change.
go to the website
If I ask you,
touchbythelight.us
do you want people
and
to
click on
like
the book
you,
cover to
or
learn
do you
more
want a
about
better
this
job,
adventurous book.
you will
Do
probably
not
say yes to
compromise
both
your
of
dream
those.
freedom,
I do
strength,
want
and
people to like me,
boldness.
and
I
I
would
would
highly
like a
recommend
better
that
job.
you give this a shot.
If you
Best
do, and
Women
you
of
say
Courage.
yes to both these questions, and you strive for the results, then you must be capable of change. For it is a given fact that if you change the way you think, you can change and you will change your life. Take the young man who just graduated from high school. He has a job at McDonald's. His friends tell him working at McDonald's is a do-nothing job. After listening to his friends for a while, he accepts his friends' appraisal of his job at McDonald's and he quits. Finding himself idle, he begins to hang out on the street corner. One of his ignorant buddies comes up with the bright idea to rob a liquor store. He follows and robs the store the next day. Soon he is arrested and charged with armed robbery and murder. He is convicted and off to prison he goes. The store owner was killed. He had no idea that his friends were carrying guns. Entire life was changed because he let his friends tell him that he was stupid for working at McDonald's. Life was changed because he did not realize that he was associating with people who wanted nothing. Our thoughts and emotions are shaped by the way we think, and the way we think is framed by the information that we receive from others. A good filtering process is necessary to keep one's thinking healthy. The young man we just spoke about did not use his filtering process, so his thinking was shaped by negativity and he met with poor results. We must always consider the information we receive from others. One way of balancing the information we receive from others is through reading. Reading opens the door to knowledge. Knowledge opens the door to the imagination. And imagination opens the door to life and prosperity and wealth and health. Change your life for the better. Begin to read. There is not one wealthy person in the world who does not read. And women cannot live better lives without changing the circumstances of their life, and you cannot change the circumstances of your life without new and reliable information. Reading is your way to obtain this information. Reading is your way to better your circumstances. Mood will change when you read. Hope will abound in your spirit when you read. A better life will seem possible with reading. Take time for yourself and read. Life is too short for you to let life pass you by because you lack the knowledge that will come from reading. Certain jobs that can come your way and you can't take these jobs because you don't have the skills. But if you would read, you would develop these skills and life would not pass you by. There is one change you must accept that you have to make in life if you truly want to survive as a human being, and that change is reading. Knowledge comes from reading. Understanding comes from reading. Tolerance and forbearance comes from reading. If you do not read, you have effectively isolated yourself from every other human being on this planet. Reading is one of the most important activities that you will ever participate in. So today you should decide to change. You should decide to become a reader. Either you need to learn to read, or once you learn to read, you need to continue reading. And if you already know how to read, you need to pick up a book written by your fellow man and find out what other people are thinking, what other people are doing around the world. Reading a book is the biggest change you will ever make in your life. One word or one experience from a book can spark an idea that can lead to wealth and happiness. Take time out of your busy day and pick up a book and read. And make certain that one of the books that you read is the Holy Bible.
Change your life by listening to the Women of Courage show on WHPR 88.1 FM every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. We can be reached at murderedvoices@gmail.com.
Join us at the Women of Courage show every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. for information that will change your life. You can